a big bank serving small people, people in a small, micro and medium enterprises.
Now, sorry to cut you short. When you speak about the MTN, the Airtel, and also these other banks joining in introducing the microfinance products, what are these products in question?
Those are they are fintechs. You find the product online. You press, as long as you're saving with them or not saving but using their services on Momo, you can get a loan.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And you keep progressing, growing. I think they have the biggest number of clients getting loans and saving with them in this country currently. So our challenge as people, as microfinance, is the availability of funds. The funds are not easily available from the bigger institutions. And then another thing is high interest. When you find the money, the interest is high, which limits us. We also find ourselves giving loans at higher interest compared with the banks who are competing with us. Otherwise, it would be well and good if our interest rates being provided by institutions around this country and elsewhere in the region were giving us loans maybe at 5% per year, and then our interest would also be low. But current average, we're getting loans from big institutions at 15%, an average of 15%, which is very expensive. If you add our cost, it makes our funding a little bit expensive.
Okay. Now speaking of accessibility, because you do mention about the interest rate being a little bit higher, but speaking a little bit of accessibility or access to the microfinance, how is it very easy for the people to access?
In fact, the easiest
the services
institutions to serve Ugandans or citizens of different countries or local economy like Masindi is microfinance.
Okay.
They are available. They are accessible by both disabled people, young women, and men. As long as you have a business activity or something you do that earns you income, from farming up to knowledge industry or service industry, we give you loans.
Okay.
And microfinance are available. For example, ourselves, we have a presence with service points in Bweyale, Kigumba, Nakasongola, Masindi, Hoima, Katikara, Kagadi, Karuguza, Luero, and Wakiso at Kawempe. Okay. And so you can get that. And you'll find even institutions like Finca, they have a great network. Post Bank has a great network. Centenary is available everywhere. There are even other microfinance institutions like Pride. So only Masindi could be having over 10 microfinance institutions. They are available and open for anybody who wants to be served to access them. And most of them have facilities that even allow a disabled person to access microfinance. The young are given an opportunity. As long as somebody can be identified and is traceable, he will get money. Okay. So I encourage all people, for example, watching, you find some people have no even national ID, they have no passport, they have no driving permit. I encourage very many people, young and old, to make sure that currently that the country, the government is issuing new IDs. They should have them. As long as you have your ID, you can access our services. Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. Murray, speaking on, you see, the part of accessibility is a very big thing in question, because most of the times the young people, more especially the young people, and maybe sometimes the women, they will have a very big question of how do I get to access these finances. So now, maybe if it is just a myth, or if it is, maybe you could clear it. Why is it that very many people would say it is very hard to access money from microfinances?
It should be the reverse. I think it is very easy to access money from microfinance institutions. because the requirements to access a loan, half of them are with you. Maybe the problem is with those people. If you are trying to forge, you have no source of income, it is not possible to get a loan from a microfinance.
Someone would say,
they
I
have
want
to check.
I want to get a loan so that I'm in position to get a source of income now.
No, you cannot access a loan. You must be an active person looking for money, earning it. And the sources of income are so many. Some people have source of income from salary. There are some people even have source of income, but they cannot mention it. Quite often, why somebody does not access a loan from a financial institution like a microfinance is a failure to give evidence of source of income.
Okay.
Some people are collecting rent and they don't write anywhere. Some people are earning from abroad and there is no proof.
Okay.
Some people are doing something, maybe, unless you're doing something illegal or something that is not allowable because of maybe environmental limitations or some prohibited activities. So you will not access money given the current practice of ESG.
Okay. So in other words, some people actually have the capacity to get the loan, but they don't have the records.
They don't have the records. That is an area most Ugandans have a problem with. They
Record
can't
keeping.
prove their source of income. They don't do records. They can't prove. So if you want a loan, even from a microfinance, even if and a group, the kind of your source of income must be independently and objectively verifiable.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be creative. So if you attempt any creativity when you're applying for a loan, it is unlikely that you'll get the loan. But if you are a local man who is doing your cassava, everybody knows, even the LOC knows, you have evidence, you have somewhere where you record your income and what you do. There is no, it is very easy to access
A loan.
Yeah. If you cannot access a loan individually, for example, at our place at Encourt Microfinance, you can create a group in your village of 15 to 25 people. Then you start accessing peer guaranteed loans from us up to 3 million.
Okay.
A minimum of 100,000 up to 3 million can be accessed from microfinance institutions via groups.
Okay.
I think most of the financial institutions, microfinance, are giving group loans. So you don't need to wait to have everything. Then some people at times want too much money and they don't have the collateral. For example, you come and you need 50 million from Encourt Microfinance. I can tell you it is not possible to get such a loan without collateral. You must have strong income streams and that are verifiable. And collateral, you must be somebody who has where you live. If you won't just walk into a microfinance institution and get a loan because
Just
you
like that.
exist. No, you must be somebody who has somewhere you live, you have what you do, and there is a clear record about what you're doing so that you can get this money.
Okay. And now diving deep a little bit on impact of microfinance. Yeah. Now, in your view, how does access to microfinance contribute to building sustainable local economies?
Of course, the first thing is the money we provide is for capital. We can help. Microfinance institutions have helped very many institutions to build capital. And I can tell you, most of the customers now banks serve were served by the microfinance sector. We have given loans for building houses, and some people have built commercial houses, residentials, others have installed solar. We have people who we have given capital for agriculture. I think 10 out of 10 people doing agriculture, I think 8 have accessed a loan from the microfinance. And out of 10 customers we serve, 8 again also get some services from the banks. But they are using the experience from the microfinance.
Mm.
For example, if somebody enters a bank and says, I've served 10 loans from a microfinance X, then the bank is in a hurry to serve such a person because he has the experience of credit. He has a credit history that can be verifiable. He can give his payment statements and they will say, oh, I think this guy can be served by even a bigger bank. So many people are being served today by banks. We are first served by microfinance sector. Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of contribution to local economy, I think we have contributed quite a lot by helping people access capital, complete their houses, access funds to light their homes, to farm, to irrigate their crops, to mulch, to do a number of things. So for the last over 35 years, I think the microfinance institutions have contributed quite a lot.
Okay.
If you were not contributing, there wouldn't be regulation. By the time the government realized that this sector has to be regularized, I think there was a good big population that was being served. I think I told you we are serving over 12 million people. So for those who have not yet joined, I think it is a pity for them. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, you see, unlike, okay, not unlike, but in the microfinance business, you have quite a number of competitors. Yeah, the banks, the money lenders now. Recently, I have seen the government trying to impose a lot of policies on the money lenders, and they are actually refusing them to take national IDs from the people. I don't know if microfinance does the same, taking national IDs from the clients. Now, speaking of innovation, now with the rise of fintech, how are microfinances able to stay in competition with the rise of fintech?
First of all, let me clarify. The microfinance sector we are talking about is in a regulated under Tier 4. So money lenders is a section, microfinance institutions is a section, and SACCOs is a section in the law.
Okay.
So the practices by money lenders is quite different from the practice of microfinance institutions. And I don't think there is any that asks to keep ident cards and maybe ATM cards. What we use IDs for is to verify the authenticity of this person applying for a loan, but we don't use it as a security. We use it as a record to see that this person exists and can be traced
in case of anything.
In case of anything. Then talk about competition. I think fintechs are just a supplement to the total sector of financial services. And the customers, Uganda is maybe almost now reaching 60 million people. According to last census, it was like 46 million people.
About there.
And with like 25 million adults or 20 million adults, from teens to adults, it's almost 30 million.
Okay.
But we are still serving very few people who have microfinance loans, fintechs combined with the telcos who are giving loans. We are serving just like 12 million people. So we still need more people to be served by
the
microfinance sector, given capital.
Okay. All right. Now still on fintech, how has this really supported the microfinance sector? Is it something that you're adopting as an innovation?
Of course, the fintech is an innovation where all microfinance are looking to. Most of the financial institutions are already digital. They can provide a loan to anybody using a phone, both via USSD and via digital phones. you
The apps and all
via
that.
the apps. Even us at Encourt, all our services are provided through digital means. The only thing that is missing is going where you apply until you get your loan without interacting with a human being. That's where we're going.
Okay.
I think in 1 or 3 years from now, we should be able to serve people when they have not moved even
An inch.
from where they are seated.
Okay.
As long as they have a phone at hand, they can get a service.
All right. Now, what role does the digital transformation play in expanding your reach or your market for the microfinances?
Digital means help us to advertise and also to serve people from wherever they are without spending much in order to get a loan.
Okay.
And also digital means have enabled us to advertise. The digital means have helped us access young people, has helped us serve young people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now you spoke about...
And the digital thing has increased the people in loans. There are people who never thought they would ever get a loan, but because the advert is at hand and they can access it, they have got loans.
Okay.
That's why you'll find many people who are defaulters who didn't know about loans. When you want to send him money or her, they say, don't send on this number. It is becoming very common.
Yeah.
So we think the credit culture is going to grow. People will understand credit because credit is still young. Unlike, in the past, people would borrow from a friend or from anybody, a relative, and then the debt is paid at his death.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you have heard people announcing, you have grown when at a burial, they say, anybody demanding this money
person,
or this money,
please
come to the family and register. Now, we didn't have the proper culture of credit. 35 years of real credit. It is microfinance that introduced credit to everybody, especially rural communities and young people. Because we can give a loan. We started by giving loans to people who are guaranteed by just friends, not because they have property or because they are rich. So you find fintech has introduced credit culture, and people maybe might learn that they have to pay at a certain day and on a certain time.
Yeah, because with the reminders, with all those
the
things.
reminders are digital, so they make them uncomfortable. Now, in the microfinance sector, where our credit officer would have to remind you physically, come to your home, ask you to pay, plead with you to pay. So the limit is that credit risk of people, some people having no discipline of paying back credit. But if we became, I think with digitalization, our discipline will improve as Ugandans or people who are within this area that we serve.
Yeah, with all those phone calls and here and there. Yeah, the microfinance having to hit the target of bringing back the money that you lent to the people. Now, you spoke about one of the challenges being the money being a bit scarce, more especially from where you have to borrow it so that now you can lend it as well. Now, what are some of the biggest challenges other than that you're facing as a microfinance, more especially when it gets to financial, social, and also regulatory?
We don't have a regulatory limit. The regulation limits microfinance institutions from collecting savings. And savings is the cheapest source of capital. So unlike in the competition, circles and banks are picking, in the environment, they are picking loans. They are picking savings from customers. For us, the microfinance sector does not collect. This is an area which we think government should adjust and allow also microfinance institutions to do what? To collect savings or transact savings. Another challenge is credit risk. We have a population which has a bad behavior of not paying loans on time. So that limitation cannot be underrated. So you find we have write-offs of bad debts. We have a lot of impairments arising from no paying. So the sector has a problem of credit risk. When we lend, the likelihood that somebody will pay is not 100%. Yes.
Okay.
The likelihood they will do default from the day we give the money, we impair 2%, 1%. Then over time, you find impairment, and it is a cost. It takes away good money that would serve more people. Those are the problems we have.
Okay.
Now, they are majorly two. I told you also access to funds, financing. When we are getting loans, the loans are very expensive for us. We are paying 12 to 18%. That's why I say it is average of 15% for the loans we use to serve the people we serve.
And then what does the final consumer pay?
The final consumers are paying up to like 25, 28% for a loan a year.
A year. Okay. Now, you've mentioned all those challenges. Now, as someone that is in the microfinance business or sector, how are you encouraging or promoting responsible borrowing, but also financial literacy?
Encouraging responsible borrowing is, of course, by making sure we protect customers. Also, the regulation is there. If you do anything wrong that is not allowable in the microfinance sector, the regulator will come in.
Okay.
Then also we have client protection principles that we practice as microfinance sector. Yes. Like protecting information about your customers, decent service, making sure you're doing appropriate pricing, you're not overpricing, you're not practicing those things like money lenders do, like picking one's ID. Yes. And respecting the dignity of people.
More especially that part of picking IDs.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is...
That one we don't practice.
Yes.
Microfinance does not do that.
Yeah, I think that is why you beat the money lenders so hard. Yeah, because at this point where you cannot pick a national ID, what is
for us, we do
left?
responsible pricing. We price our services appropriately.
Responsibly.
And we also give money for things that are lawful.
Okay.
We don't fund unlawful businesses in microfinance sector.
Oh. You assess the business first, whether...
The microfinance institutions have an association. I told you I was a board member at AMFIO, Association of Microfinance Institutions. Now, we do peer learning. We learn from each other at the association. And then it is the association that helps us if we want to influence policy or we want training in specific areas. They provide such. Yes.
All right. Now, before we go for a very short commercial break so that we can return and probably be in position to end this episode. Now, how do you assess whether microfinance is truly empowering the people borrowing or it is actually creating dependency? How do you draw the line between the two?
Most of the microfinance institutions do what we do customer feedback surveys. Even independent institutions go down there to check, like CGAP, to know whether there is impact. What I can tell you, there's been a lot of impact of microfinance institutions on people's business, on people's families, on people's education, on an array of things, because we finance almost everything except the non-allowable.
Yeah. Everything, unlike the non-allowable.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Maurice. Our viewers that are watching us live on Outcome TV, thank you so much for keeping it live on Outcome TV. This is the Business Spot. Yeah, of course, when you need business results. Now we're going to go for a very short commercial break, and when we return, we're going to be we're going to be speaking of how do regional and international trends affect the microfinance and more. Business Spot returns.
Discover your home away from home at Kabalega Resorts, Hoima. Located just 4 kilometers from Hoima City on the Hoima-Masindi Road. A real resort in an eco-environment. Nestled near the stunning Albertine Escarpment and historic Mparo Royal Tombs. We are the perfect blend of convenience and charm. Treat yourself to our cozy rooms, mouth-watering meals at the restaurant, and refreshing moments in our outdoor pool. Whether you're here for business or leisure, our conference facilities, camping grounds, and fun-filled kids' playground are ready for you. Escape, relax, reconnect at Kawalega Resorts, Hoima. Your adventure starts with us. Book today.
Welcome back from that commercial break. My name is Elijah Kelvin Morongi, and this show is proudly sponsored by Beckham Enterprises Limited. So, Beckham Enterprises Limited is saying you can reach out to them for all building and construction materials, fabrication materials, farm implements, the plumbing materials, and everything that you need to have your house finished A to Z. We're also sponsored by Kabalega Resorts Limited, that is Kabalega Resorts Masindi and Hoima, but also soon we shall be having the grand opening of the new Kabalega Resorts, that is in Nyamasoga, as you en route Kabalega Airport. All right, so you can reach out to them for all accommodation, conference facilities, the bar and restaurant services. For those of you that love the sauna, yes, Mr. Morris, I don't know if you love the sauna part of it.
Yes, I do.
Yes, so Kabalega Resorts, Hoima, is in position to support your healthy routine with the sauna, the massage, the steam bath, and the likes. All right, so today we're still speaking of microfinance, because very many of you have been asking a question of how does the microfinance work, and also we understand at least by now you're in position to be answering a few questions to yourself, as we have the expert in the microfinance business, that is Mr. Morris, who is the founder and the executive director of NCOT Microfinance Limited, a microfinance that has been in existence for the last 19 years, right? Yes, for the last 19 years. Right, so still our topic, the evolving role of microfinance in building resilient and local economies. Now, Mr. Morris, we left it at the part where we're trying to understand how how exactly we can draw the line between the dependency, the people becoming dependent of these loans, or actually having these people empowered. Yeah, and we clearly understand that at least most of the people have been in position to do a lot with these loans, the ones that have done school, the ones that have built homes, the ones that have done powering their houses. Yeah, I don't know why paid fees. I don't know why, but I don't see myself getting a loan to power a house, to get electricity. I don't know, is that what you meant by powering houses?
Yes.
Mm.
Loans
Mm.
are not a bad thing.
Okay.
They enable you live a life. If you're getting loans, you live a life you not have lived. You live a certain good life earlier than you should have. For example, if
You live a certain good life earlier than you
for
should have.
example, you can light your house using solar or real electricity using a loan.
Mm.
It means you're getting light earlier than you would have
Got it.
afforded it.
Mm. So in other words, by the time you would
So
have got the money.
I think you are doing badly if you are not accessing any loan. If you don't have any loan on yourself, I think it is going to be very difficult for you to drive or to drive your idea.
Okay.
You either don't have an idea to fund, that's why you don't pick the money,
loan,
or you have your idea and you don't have an idea that you can get a loan to implement your idea.
Okay. I think that is food
In
for
fact,
thought.
in the whole of this region, these institutions in the microfinance sector are an opportunity for you and other young people. The earlier you rush to pick a loan at any microfinance institution of your choice, the better than keeping that you can't pick a loan to lighten your house. You can even pick a loan to buy a TV. You can pick a loan to furnish your house, your sitting room and
Okay, now,
bedroom.
Mr.
Even
Morris.
if you're renting it, you can pick a loan to furnish your kitchen. You can pick a loan to update your wardrobe.
So, Mr.
For
Morris,
example, if your wardrobe is doing badly, you can pick a loan as long as you have a source of income to pay
facilitate
the
a
loan.
loan. Mr. Morris, so when did we have a change, or when did we shift from getting loans just for business, and then we shifted to getting loans for even just personal?
When I talk about idea, I talk about business idea.
Okay.
I want to think. We didn't change the needs. People's needs are changing. For example, if you have a business, a 20 million business, a 20 million value business, you can choose not, if you can pick money from the business to furnish your home. Or you can walk to a microfinance and pick 4 million to furnish your home. As you continue working with a big capital of 20 million for a micro business, which makes, small businesses make a lot of money. So monthly you pay back, but when you have already updated your home. Or you pick a loan and buy a car, complete a car payment. And you have a car to facilitate your movement and your family movement. But the business continues without going down. So there are so many ways why one needs money. So all microfinance understand people's needs.
Okay, now, Mr. Morris, maybe you could help us understand, more especially some of the viewers, that some people have a thinking that it wouldn't be good for them to pick a loan to start a business. How true or how wrong is the idea?
Microfinance institutions do not give loans for startup. They supplement. You as owner, you have to contribute capital, and there must be evidence that you have something and you're adding.
So in other words,
it is
you
rare
do
to
not
give, and quite often, if people got a loan for startup, they fail.
Okay.
The only loan you can get for startup is if you get a loan maybe from your father or your mother or some relative or a friend. But
and
not
tell them,
from a
you know
financial
what, I'll pay this back.
They can even they can donate you money. They can give it to you knowing they have donated it to you. Maybe after 5 years, you can also help another person in the family. But then you supplement that capital with a loan. So if like your family, you've got your 20 million, Now you want to do a business of 50 million or 40 million. Then you get a loan of 10M. Then you get also credit supply. But you cannot get fully a loan to start a business.
Okay, other than the microfinance, now when it goes to your to the professional part of you, like, would you advise someone? Yeah, because at least we've had that as a very big question most of the times. That can I go pick a loan? I have an idea. Can I go pick a loan so that I can start this idea? Would you advise someone to do so?
Yes, that is if you go to the bigger banks out of microfinance. Yes, the idea can be funded, but they will require your contribution. That one I can tell you.
No, leaving alone the other part of the policies, the requirements and all that. Now I'm speaking about the entrepreneur part of you. That can I have to get a loan for me to put it for me to start a business that I've not even tested whether it will give us returns or not?
You can. That is called leap of faith. You jump in
And
you
see.
you test the depth of the water when you are inside. Some people have been successful, others have failed.
Okay.
So it depends on individual judgment. I can't advise on that. But if you come for a loan at a microfinance where I'm seated X, I would need your experience in your business at least for 1 year.
Okay.
At micro level. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Now going to the broad perspective, what are some of these trends that affect the microfinance?
Some of what?
Some of the international, some of the regional and international trends that affect microfinance in Uganda.
Of course.
And how do they affect them?
An international trend, I think digitization is an international thing. It is a global.
Okay.
Another thing is ESG, environment, social, and good governance issues that are globally driven. They are key drivers, the practices, the policies, because at national level, we are adopting global trends. Yeah.
Okay. So how
they come with a cost. They come with some sacrifices. So those sacrifices are a cost on the sector.
Do we have any examples that you would say maybe this government policy has really affected how microfinance works here in Uganda, more especially international ones or regional ones?
I can't go into the specifics because they need a whole day. But what is important, we have to observe the environmental protocols, you know what they call sustainable, they call them the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. They affect us. The area that there is areas that are promoting us. The SDGs are both an opportunity and a challenge. Yes.
Okay. Now, you did mention about the challenges, more especially when it gets to access to funds so that you can finance the client loans. Now, what are some of the lessons? What are some of the lessons you could learn from other African countries or neighbors or regions? Yeah, so that these are some of the things we would pick a leaf on here in Uganda.
Of course, Uganda can learn from like Kenya and Ghana, which are a little bit ahead in microfinance. Especially, they have done a lot of leap. They have grown more in areas. They have done significant progress in areas of financial inclusion, digitization, and ESG.
Okay.
Those are areas that we can learn a lot from Kenya and Ghana, maybe even Rwanda. Yes.
Actually, when it gets to really the digital, I think Kenya is doing very, very well.
Ahead, yes.
When it gets to the digital things. Now, I have seen that the microfinance engages so much with SACCOs. Actually, I think even NCOT, where you do work, engages so much with SACCOs. Now, what can we talk about the SACCOs? What relationship does the microfinance have with these SACCOs?
Of
And
course,
how do you do business with them?
we relate
Mm.
because we leverage on each other.
Mm.
So we have the circles, we have the banks. So MFIs need to adopt to changing client needs.
Mm.
They can learn from the banks, they can learn from circles.
Mm.
And so even we have an association that brings us together, that AMFIP
Yes.
has circles, has microfinance, has banks like Centenary.
Mm.
Even I think our association is getting a lot of support from Stanbic Bank,
Mm.
and such support help leverage on the sector
Okay.
on a number of things,
Mm.
especially knowledge. Thank you.
All right. Now, getting to as we get to conclude this particular show. Now, maybe I would like us to look into the future a bit. What does the future of the microfinance business look like in the next 5 to 10 years?
We need to adopt on how to serve the new generation, the Gen Z. It's the biggest challenge in the future, and the numbers are really big. So we need to have more offering in a more flexible way in order to serve the emerging young people.
Okay. All right. Our viewers that are watching us live on Outcome TV, thank you so much for keeping it live on Outcome TV. Maybe I'll be in position to read a few comments here and there so that we can see on how